you want me to. I just wanna be close.
Welcome to the public meeting of December 16, 2025 of the Township of Washington Zoning Board. Adequate notices of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Board Secretary to at least 2 newspapers on December 27, 2024. And this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. D'Agostino is absent. Mrs. Grimaldi? Here. Ms. Hannah is absent. Mr. Labrada?
Here.
Mr. Zitko?
Present.
Mr. Rivera?
Here.
Mrs. Osmond?
Here.
Chairman Guest is absent. Let the record reflect, also in attendance are Attorney Gary Giantonio, Board Engineer John Yakimic, and Board Secretary Grace Kalish.
Public portion. To participate in the general public portion of the meeting, please click the link on the website and listed on the agenda to join the webinar. You will be asked to state your name for the record. We ask that only one person speak at a time. This public comment portion is only for non-agenda items. Time is set aside later in the meeting to address questions or comments about current agenda items. If you are participating by phone, press star 9 to raise your hand and star 6 to unmute. At the end of the general public portion, no further questions or comments will be accepted. Motion to open public portion.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody in the audience would like to come up and state anything that's non-agenda items? Anybody at Zoom land?
No.
No. Motion to close public portion.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of the November 18, 2025. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at it, make comments?
I think the only thing I saw in the roll call, it said that John was here and Fred was here.
Hold on.
I don't know if you put absent or somewhere else, but I just noticed.
Well, I put Jeff Morris. You're talking about John Yakimic?
Just in a roll call. Yeah, I don't know if that's, if you put somewhere else who's in attendance or not.
So I put Jeff Morris was here for John Yakimic.
Okay, it says let the record reflect in attendance is Board Engineer John Yakimic.
Where do you see that?
In the
In the minutes.
In the minutes?
Isn't this the minutes?
No, that's the
Oh, no, that's
agenda.
the hybrid. Oh, that's the agenda. Oh,
That's
then I'm wrong.
Was there, I'm
Oh,
just,
and I have Fred as,
You have Fred down, yeah.
okay, I have to get Fred.
Fred has to be out
Yeah, okay,
because he was absent.
right, okay.
The other question I have, in the November minutes, because there was a lot of, especially with the applications, are all the numbers accurate? Is there any, that I did not have to
So
look
these are
at?
the numbers that were spoken in the hearing.
Okay,
So if they were misspoken,
then they were misinterpreted.
then, I mean, I just put what was spoken.
Do
I
you-
don't,
Right. Gary, do you know if, like, say, for example, on page 2 of the new business, for the minutes, all the numbers, like the square footages and all that, correct?
In the minutes?
In page 2 of the new business, right,
Mhm.
all, because that's one thing I wasn't able to check when I got
As
there.
far as I know, I mean, I usually try to check with
Right,
the plans and things, for actual numbers, or and I have my notes, what was approved,
okay.
but we send it to the engineer and then he look, we all try to look and see if we catch something.
Yeah, I read it, and I do recall some of these numbers from the hearing of last month.
So as far as you know, they're correct.
Yes.
Okay. Then I make a motion to approve it.
Make the motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Lagrada,
Yes.
Mr. Zitko,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Osmond.
Yes.
So the next thing is the update information on 891 Manhattan Avenue. And before comment is stated, there's in the package, there was an email that was addressed from Joe to Mrs. Kalish in reference to the 891 Manhattan. So I have a question. Is it Joe working on this, or is it Joe and John working on this? Or because the last meeting, it was you were going to follow up in reference to this. So
I did.
what's this, like, who's going to follow up to make sure this is going through properly?
Yeah, so on October 22nd, I sent an email to the zoning officer alerting him to the 2 accessory structures on the site and for him to take appropriate action with regard to that. That was on the as-built.
Okay.
I have not, since today, I've not received a response to that. Before this meeting, I sent Joe an email and copied my October 22nd email and said, have you heard anything on this? Joe responded, he's playing phone tag with the resident.
Right.
And, he'll keep trying.
Can I ask a question? How long does you allow something like this to go on? I mean, to just continue. I mean, does the board have any say? Does the engineer, who has any say in it?
Well, I'll let Gary.
Refresh what we're talking about, 891.
That's Manhattan.
That was one that was approved? It was,
We got the as-built
right,
and we found some inconsistencies
okay.
with the code.
right.
The impervious area was grandfathered because
They started. the
they
project.
started it
Right,
before they passed the vote. We noticed the 2 accessory structures. So I sent that email on October 20th.
Right.
So the good news is the zoning officer feels they should return to the board. That's the impression I'm getting.
But
But
this started because of the driveway.
this all started because of the driveway.
Right. This is the driveway.
And then we,
He started this 3 or 4 years ago, this whole project.
he did. And, I'll let Grady comment, but, quite frankly, he just tries to avoid things and not cooperate. But I would counter that by saying we're just more tenacious than he is in making sure that this gets resolved. I can't speak for the zoning officer's tactics or methods to make him comply. But I do know that, say, in Westwood, they would probably be a bit more
Forceful?
forceful is the good word, and basically threaten fines.
building department, zoning official.
But here's the,
Yeah.
but here's the
Normally,
question. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So John, let me ask you a question. Would in a situation like this require a visit to the applicant's home? If we're not able to get any answer from them?
That's up to the zoning officer. I think the best way to do that is through like a certified mail correspondence and say, if you don't act in a certain number of days, they'll start instituting fines. I'm sure there's fines for zoning violations in our code. If not, they could go to the general fine section of the code. And I know from experience that an applicant in Westwood was doing this for years, and they were threatening thousands of dollars, and only until they threatened $10,000 in fines did the person actually come before the board. And it, quite frankly, it only resulted in, for that particular case, some additional landscaping. So we never know what the board is going to want as a result of this. So, this person is obviously avoiding his own fate. And, it would be up to the zoning officer to determine, the proper way to get him to comply. So I don't know if we have any power over the zoning officer on.
I mean, it's an enforcement issue.
It is.
Which we don't enforce it.
But
And there's also a question as whether they is it about the impervious coverage because it might have been grandfathered? And we
Right.
kind of left it to their determination because they have the factual information.
We did, but I took it that the two sheds were,
The sheds were different.
yeah,
story.
and more, and what.
You
they
can't have
were-
two
what-
sheds.
You can't have two sheds. They
Did they
have,
put a new one on at the time?
they have two accessory structures.
Right.
They have I think a cabana
Yeah, I think it was a
Pool.
pool house, right?
and the
Yeah.
shed,
And the shed.
right.
And
And then
we
you,
questioned it and asked the zoning officials.
right, and I got a response this evening, and the zoning officer was frustrated because he's trying to contact the resident and has been unsuccessful.
So let me ask you a question. When we started this process about 2 months ago, the zoning board approved the driveway. When everything came up to that as built and we noticed there was other things going on, the question was that whether it was you or Joe, that you were going to go back to the records to see if it was grandfathered, not grandfathered, if it was approved, not
I
approved.
did.
Yeah.
So you went that far
With
back?
Grace's help, we
Okay.
did.
Yeah,
So-
it's,
And we
So
determined it was grandfathered.
so the sheds were grandfathered?
No.
No. What was, I would like,
Impervious.
the impervious coverage was
Because that was a
grandfathered.
new law that was instituted in September of 2020.
Okay, so the impervious coverage was grandfathered. From that moment, from that point on, then it became a problem with the two structures.
I think prior to that, it was a problem with the two
Right,
structures.
just let it-
Because there was no change in the law.
Okay, so how did things get approved back then if the structures were, okay.
So
So the only way we found out is with the as-built report, and that's what started that particular problem.
right,
Okay, so now according to the email that we received from Joe, is that he's been trying to reach the applicant, but they haven't gotten together. So those two structures are still a problem. And you're getting the impression that might be that he may want the applicant to come to this board for an approval? That's a possibility?
yeah. Or
May I ask, Grace, are they up to date with their amount of money that they have an escrow?
They have a small amount that we are holding.
It's a,
The bulk of it was returned.
oh, it was.
And
See, now you have a
then
problem
A
if the
small
engineer.
amount was held for the driveway. So and when that was determined, they didn't know about these other things.
Right.
So it was
Hi,
like
Grace.
$100.
383.25 is what they currently owe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they owe a balance to us.
Is that in this?
In-
envelope? That's not past due. You're saying it,
I just checked my ARs today. They just came out from the accounting department and it showed it's fresh as of today, 383.25. There might be something in there.
I think there's there must be something new because I didn't think they had anything outstanding, but I'll review it.
Okay, and then concurrently, I also reached out to Glenn Beckmeyer, who's a township engineer, because the other issue is to make sure that the curb was constructed correctly. And so I asked Glenn to call me because I want to resolve any confusion. Who's responsible to make sure that the curb was constructed correctly? I suspect it was not. Glenn went out there to inspect, but he only inspected the width. And I believe my conversations with him maybe 6-7 months ago was he led me to believe that it was not constructed correctly. So that could be another issue with this resident, that it would have to be ripped up and constructed correctly.
So
Yeah. So
Is
John,
that-
a question. So the curb for the driveway, there
Yeah.
should be an apron there, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be an apron if there's no sidewalk. There's no sidewalk at that location.
Okay.
Why we suspect it wasn't constructed, you're supposed to go down 18 inches in
Oh,
depth
got
with
it.
the curb. Otherwise, it's just going to flake off and crumble in a couple of years. So
That's-
we have specific requirements for the depth of the concrete.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how dated these photos are, but you could tell that in these photos, that the driveway was done not too long ago, but you can already see that part of the concrete towards the end is already starting to chip away.
Yes, yes. So,
Why wasn't the curb brought up 2 months ago when we had the applicant here? Like, why?
it was, I thought it was brought up, that it was, he's aware of it.
The applicant's aware of it?
I believe so, yes.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I'm hearing about the curb may
Yeah.
not be properly done. So I'm a little shocked, I guess.
I'm not.
I don't recall that conversation. either.
No, knowing this applicant, I'm not.
No, but I'm just saying we could have done something different on the night that he was here and maybe not approve it subject to getting it fixed
Right.
without us, because I did not hear anything about, this is the first time I'm hearing about that the curb wasn't done properly.
Okay.
If it wasn't done properly, I would have told the applicant, I'm sorry, we're not approving it until this thing has been taken care of. And that would be the end of it.
Okay.
Are we talking about the curb cut in the driveway itself?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
it was cracking. It was brought up to him.
Right, but I never heard anything about that. Colin Beckmeyer went out to
So I
inspect.
never, no, I.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I think you're correct.
So now we need to fix this problem. Okay. So I guess we
Well,
need,
the good thing is that we can address it now, because if he hasn't been, he's been unresponsive to the zoning director, we could actually call him up to come in, and then we could address it then.
I think we need to give Joe a little bit of time to
Right.
see if he can follow up and get this thing rectified. I think we need to table it and put this on to January's meeting.
Yeah.
And then we need to follow.
It's going to get hard with winter being here.
You're right.
Well, he would not be allowed to do it now.
Correct.
Right.
And he would have to do it after, say,
May?
March.
April 15th is the date for road opening.
Okay.
Permits are only allowed after April 15th. That's by code.
But at least we can get the applicant and get this thing resolved so the project can start if it's taken care of.
Yeah, and like I said, I have that request into Glenn Beckmeyer. So, I'll talk to him about the condition of the curb. He actually alerted it to me, and then I agreed with him that the curb was suspect. They poured it in the middle of the night. They're supposed to call the town engineer to have it inspected while it's being poured. They didn't do that. So there's, it's just a never ending problem with this site.
Okay. So I think we need to table this till next month's meeting. I think we need to follow up in the meantime with Joe to see what's the status of this. We also need to get additional monies from the applicant. Based on what John has said about the bill.
And also about the other engineer also. He's going to be looking for some
Right, that's additional
additional
monies.
funds.
Yep. We go from
Okay.
there. Anybody have additional questions, comments on this one? Okay. That one on
You
side.
can't hide. I don't know, just comply.
Okay.
Should we have a motion to table it?
We'll motion to make a table this applicant, 891 Manhattan Avenue to next month's meeting.
Second.
You need to do a roll call or just all in favor?
That's a question for Gary.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always ask her. Roll call?
Yeah, too.
Let's do a roll call.
Mrs. Grimaldi? Yes. Mr. Lagrada?
Yes.
Mr. Zitko?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Osmond?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Next is the discussion in reference to the 2025 ZBA annual report. Now, can you explain a little bit of this?
Okay, so this report has two components. The first page is like a summary page. of the variances that were requested, what was approved. A couple were eliminated in the process and a couple were denied. And the last 2 pages is a breakdown of each one of these variances by application.
So if I look at this, we did 28 applications this year? Or was it 22 applications?
You did 28.
28.
28 variances were requested. 22 were approved, 3 were eliminated,
And 3 were denied.
3 were denied. This is just for you to think about if you want to make any recommendations to the council, for changes to the code and stuff like that. So this is kind of a draft report, and then I thought maybe January, if y'all have comments, that might be a good time to
Bring it up again and
talk
see.
about it, see if you want to recommend any changes to it.
Does anybody have any comments, questions?
I think this is more, we have to absorb some of what this is and discuss it.
Yeah.
And then try to make, if we need anything that we could
Yeah.
send to the council.
So it's a summary of what's been coming in front of the board, what,
Right.
type of cases,
Right.
you could see
Type
what.
of case,
you
what
know,
the
what's
outcome was.
typical, right?
And this is
Yeah.
how we changed the garages, right?
Yeah, you
From
know,
the year before.
basically, yeah.
Okay,
I realized you had a lot of garages coming up and you made that recommendation and,
based on this report.
well, at the time we weren't, I don't think we were doing this.
Oh,
Was
you
only the
weren't?
second year that I
Oh,
did this.
okay.
We weren't doing the report, but now
We were doing more on specific issues in the middle of the year and the year, but this is good to have a summary each year.
This organization over excellent.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work to prepare.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it was a very nice job. After doing it for many years, it's a very nice job. Really, it's
Very nice.
very, very nice.
Is this something that we need to forward over?
Yes, it
to next
does.
month?
Yeah, it does ultimately get forwarded to the council.
No, but it's something that we should bring up again in January?
Yes, we should be discussing this, I think.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just like a draft kind of
Right,
at
yeah.
this point, and then
so we'll table this again.
discussions and then y'all kind of vote.
So we'll table this to next month and anybody that comes up with some ideas, present it at that meeting and we can go
Yeah.
forward.
Right.
So I've motion to table it to January.
Motion?
Second,
Do a roll call? Oh, sorry, roll call or do a roll call? Please.
Mrs. Grimaldi,
yes.
Mr. Lagrada,
Yes.
Mr. Zitko.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Osmond.
Yes.
Okay. The next is discussion in reference to YouTube viewings. I got this report. I looked at it. I was kind of impressed and saying,
It's a Mary's,
yeah, saying that people are actually going onto YouTube to look at,
Yes.
listen to us.
just that night, though. This is accumulation.
Accumulation.
Okay,
But it's
It's not that night. Okay,
no.
that makes sense. 'cause I
Well,
don't think we have
YouTube
this
doesn't tell me
perception.
right.
when the views were.
It just told at the
Right.
time, when did you check? So as of that,
When it went live, it'll
Like-
say.
Last, like a few days before the packet went out, which. was
right,
last-
so as of that
So-
date, this is what
Yeah,
the history of each.
But it tells me that
Meeting.
people are actually going onto it and
I'm
looking.
looking at it. yeah.
Right. So a couple of questions I wrote down is, and I probably don't know, what's the planning board doing? Because they're in the same
I
situation.
looked was less. They were less.
But are they looking to,
I think they're not gonna change. They're gonna stay on
they're
YouTube.
going to stay? Okay.
Yeah,
Do we have a pricing?
it doesn't cost us.
No.
We pay for, I mean, we pay for, the time of the technician now. We don't pay to put it on YouTube.
Who's doing it anyway for Zoom?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. What he told us was it is a monthly cost for our meetings, but there's no additional cost to put it onto
Correct.
YouTube. And that's going to continue for next year?
If you guys decide that you want
Yes.
to continue it next year, because we were ending it.
Yeah, I mean, seeing these numbers, I've changed my mind.
Okay.
How long does it stay on YouTube?
Forever.
Yeah.
Take it
Do
down.
we want it to stay on forever?
That's,
If it's a decision of the board, I don't see,
It's a matter of public record.
yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. That was my question is the
It's
retention
more
period.
transparent.
It just makes it easier for a person to look up a meeting that they might have missed and they said, oh, somebody said, look at this meeting. It's easier to go to YouTube than it is to look on the website, I guess.
Yeah, they're not.
And it's
The
not,
recordings are not.
Basically, the board is not supposed
right,
to,
only the minutes.
every application is supposed to be judged on its own. It's not
Right.
supposed to be because you did this for this one, that you have to do this for this one.
But it's not costing us additional dollars.
No.
to put it.
It's a
So-
public record. It
Right.
can save Oprah fees somewhere down the road. Somebody not to Oprah something, they can
Yes,
just go
and
back
if-
and look at it.
If I may, if somebody wants to do an application in town, they can get a flavor for how the board acts on certain
Right.
things. And they can get an inference from it. But to your point, it's not a basis for their own decision.
Except people do believe
Right.
that it is.
Yeah.
Can they take this and put this on Facebook? Do they have access?
I
to
believe
just
they can.
Like any other YouTube thing?
Mhm.
I mean,
Nothing to
that's-
stop them from doing that. Putting it on Facebook or putting a
Right, I mean, it's out.
a snippet.
And I mean, realistically, they could take their phone and record the meeting and post that too.
I don't know.
Just from your phone with it on
Yeah, if they're watching.
YouTube or Zoom, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's nothing to stop them from doing that. I mean, look, I think every board should desire to be as transparent as possible anyway. So I personally don't see an issue with it. As long as it's not costing extra money, that would be the only concern I would have.
And it's not.
No, there's no extra cost to put them.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to make a motion that we continue it.
Make that motion.
Good. Second,
Second,
roll call.
Mrs. Grimaldi?
Oh, wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. Before the roll call, do we have to say an expiration date on this? To like December what?
Let it stay unless we decide
Unless
to
we
change it,
change
and we
it.
can bring it up as a motion and change it.
That's fine. So it's unlimited.
Okay, and I can do this next year,
Okay.
or maybe at the 6-month mark and then like every 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, we'll bring it up twice a year. That's all fine.
Yeah,
You want it to continue until the board decides otherwise.
Yeah.
Basically.
okay. Mrs. Grimaldi,
Yes.
Mr. Labrada,
Yes.
Mr. Zitko,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Osmond.
Yes.
You good? Okay. Mr. Simic, you're up next.
Yes, sir.
What's the update of the Apple Montessori?
So they received their CO.
They did.
We are holding a small bond. I checked with Grace. I believe it's $5,000
Yeah, about that.
about that for some very minor punch list items that remain. One of them is an ADA certification that the township engineer has to sign to. We recommend that he sign off on it. And there were some, very small items that were some site items, some changes to the as-built. They haven't asked for their bond to be released yet. So we have that money to, if they don't do it, we could use that money to take care of these items.
Performance bond?
It's the law allows to get a CO to put up a bond for any items that you're missing.
Okay.
And, it's extremely few. My understanding is that you want to talk about the chain.
Well, I noticed it's gone. The yellow ribbon or whatever you want to call it, it's gone.
Okay.
So the question becomes, was there a resolution to that?
No,
Is there a reason why it's gone?
don't know.
Is it going to go back up? Is it part of the checklist?
It's not.
Okay.
So
I'm grabbing for
site plan-
straws.
the site plan is silent on whether it's required or not. There's no physical barrier required across that emergency access on Linwood Avenue.
Should there be?
Let me try to answer your question. When they installed it, I thought it was a good idea, quite frankly, because I had mistakenly tried to pull into that entrance. And then when I saw the chain, it stopped me. And I said, oh, that's right. And then I pulled out and I went in the correct entrance. So I allowed it. My recommendation to the construction official was to allow it to remain because I thought it was a good idea from personal experience, even though the site plan didn't specifically show it. I then got some concerns about it from Mark DiCarlo, the township administrator. And I asked him, you know, is it the fire department? Is it some other entity that's concerned about it? And I told him what I'm telling the board right now. I could either take it or leave it. I thought it was a good idea. It's a breakaway chain. It's made out of plastic. And he responded that the fire department had no issues with it. So he was
Has no issues with
chain.
not being there or
Being there.
with being there.
okay. So I'm on the
Okay.
same page. Okay.
All right. So it came as a surprise to me yesterday when Grace reported to me that the chain is now missing.
I saw it was gone over the weekend. I passed it on the weekend. It was gone.
So I would offer to the board that I investigate the reasons why it's missing, have the same conversation with Mr. DiCarlo and the fire department, because I got the impression that if they had to choose between the two, they would have wanted it there.
Yeah, it should
Especially
be
if it
there.
was a plastic chain, I don't see why
Right.
it would affect anything.
Because it's a breakaway chain.
Yeah, it's-
Anything that goes through a car, whatever, it's going to break away, right? It's almost like
Correct.
plastic.
Yeah, it's just there as a visual deterrent.
Right, and you're right. It's very important to be there.
I think so,
So no issue for emergency vehicles or anything, because it's a breakaway, right?
because it's a breakaway, yes.
Okay.
So I will investigate that further. I will reach out to Apple Montessori themselves and, you know, just ask the question.
Is it possible that they removed it for snow removal? Or
Possible.
would that not be a place that would be addressed the way it is?
It's possible for ease of.
That's the only thing I could think of, why it might be
Yeah,
done.
but you can't.
But it was,
They changed ownership. There was an article.
No, I think they changed the way that it was owned in terms of a lease type arrangement for, I forget. the
It's
term.
complicated.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
complicated.
That's why I was wondering if.
it's like a
another
15-year
entity
lease
said that
with,
the gate-
you know, or,
There was like 3 entities.
yeah. It was
That's right.
definitely complicated, but I don't think it's actually officially changed ownership. I think
Okay.
it's just structure
So it
change.
wouldn't have been somebody decided not to keep the chains and.
Right, I don't think so.
but the chains were gone before the weekend, before the snow.
No,
Yeah.
No,
you would probably do that if
Yeah.
you're preparing for it on a Friday when you have your maintenance staff there.
I would keep it on the agenda and allow me to investigate and find out the background, why it was removed.
So we'll put this on for next month's meeting as the follow-up.
I took the impression you were questioning why it was there. And I said, I gave this answer like 2 months ago and now I was surprised to learn that it's now removed. So
Because I pass it all the time. That's the problem.
it's not a problem. I mean, that's.
That would be my
Thank
hunch,
you.
though, is they did it just to make it easier for snow removal. But
Then-
we'll find out.
Right, but if that was the case, then they should have put it back after the snow was gone. Like
That's
they could
right.
have
Or
put it back
maybe,
by now.
maybe a plow did break it or a salter did break it and they never put it back.
Yeah,
It's possible too.
it's only 2 business days since.
Could one of the leaf trucks hit it by accident?
Probably
many
not.
things.
More likely some property maintenance there where they chose to take it down for the winter. Who knows? That's what we'll have to find out.
Yeah, let Mr. Simic find out and we'll follow this up again next month.
Sooner. I'll send it. As soon as I find out, I'll send it to the whole
Okay.
board. So we don't have to wait a whole month.
Everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay. No roll call, no nothing? No. Okay, good. Next one, discussions are regarding the escrows and fees. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at this spreadsheet?
Yep.
Who made the spreadsheet?
I
Gracie did a great job. Give yourself a plus.
Yeah.
Raise.
gave plus.
I
We
took
can't
some-
give you money, we'll give you pluses.
Yeah, that's all we can give you, pluses. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? Does anybody think we should raise our fees to compensate what needs to be done?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
you want me to go by line item and we can talk about each line? You want to do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Just so you're aware, the council did request that the zoning board make specific recommendations.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
But
So this is
You don't
part of our
stay.
reviewing neighboring towns to get an idea.
yeah, they wanted to look at neighboring towns and ask
So,
you guys.
so on the zoning board where it says application fee, residential unspecified,
Yeah,
my recommendation is $250 per variance instead of a flat
Per
dollar.
variance, right? No,
Per-
all right. So how does that work with an existing variance it's a non-conforming,
So if it's one variance, it's $250. If it's,
but if it kind of exists. Pre-existing.
Conforming.
I would assume that it would be for whatever variances they are specifically applying.
There
Correct.
right now.
correct,
New variants.
new variance.
Not
All right, let's say, I think that's why the word new should be in there.
So $250 per
new
variance,
variance.
but new,
For
For
new.
new variance.
per new. Okay,
So what's the base application? Because we have here 100 to 200. What does that mean?
So it's gonna-
100 to 2.
so
So now what's it gonna?
250 per new variance. So if
So
it-
minimum of 250.
minimum 250. So if
So
applicant
minimum-
comes in and needs two variances, it's going to be a $500 application fee,
Per variance, new variant, not non-conforming, not the pre-existing.
not pre-existing, because
Right.
pre-existing is pre-existing.
Okay.
So
And now, just a question on
Yeah.
that. What happens with that money for the application fee?
It's just the fee for the town.
Right,
That
so,
would be to the 10. That's not.
I'm just clarifying that
Yeah.
for my actual question would be then, so now we have a meeting where we have 3 variances, and through the course of our discussion, one of those variances gets eliminated. Is that then refunded for that variance, or do we just keep it because that was the basis of the application?
that's my statement.
The latter.
It goes to the basis of the application.
Okay,
What they're
I just wanted to be
applying to.
clarified,
Yeah.
that's all.
That's what I would think.
That's what I would.
So if they apply for 3 variants,
Right.
it's 750.
If they end up only needing 2, it's
Well,
So they eliminate, they're still paying 7.
They're still paying
Not getting into.
They're getting an
I
approval
would-
for eliminating that variance.
Right, no, I just
They're really-
wanted to
the
clarify.
professionals will really look into what's being done then.
I like
that's all.
that answer.
Yeah,
I mean,
We'll let the
if they
professionals.
get denied, they're not getting their money back.
Right, right.
right.
But they're not getting the money back if we go from 3 to 2 or 3 to 1.
Right,
Again,
right.
both those questions were just to clarify.
No, no,
No, that's
it's a
good.
valid,
Based on the application.
it's a valid
So
question.
There's no question down the road.
Correct.
That's a good question.
So under the non-residential / commercial use D variance, I believe it should be $1,000.
So yeah, other towns have 1,000.
Non-residential commercial use D.
Is that enough?
Is that is this in addition to any application fee or?
Yes.
What were the other towns for that? Were they all in the same ballpark?
No.
Or-
Hohokus is $1,000.
You want
You want a sheet? You want a sheet?
I haven't.
Hohokus is $1,000. Oradell is $500. Paramus is nothing. Emerson's anywhere from $4 to $1,000. Westwood's $500. Ridgewood's $5 to $1,000 each.
What?
This is
kind of
commercial.
application is this?
Yes,
Commercially.
D variant.
D variance.
So I know that, but it says it's commercial, non-residential.
I mean-
To keep it to one page, I kind of had to push
Okay.
this together. So some
Alright.
towns differentiate between residential, commercial. We don't, but that's why that whole class,
Oh,
that's
okay.
why it's like that, because some of those towns do differentiate between residential.
So
Commercial.
in theory, on this line, a residential could fall under it for certain,
If it's a D, yeah.
like a height variance.
Yeah.
Multifamily.
Okay.
Yeah, and you also got to take into consideration, just looking at and again, this is my observation from between the towns of Hohokus, Emerson, and Ridgewood. Those towns are heavier in commercial use space
Right.
than Township is.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm almost thinking 1,000 isn't enough.
You think it should be
I
higher?
think it should be 1,500, quite honestly.
I agree. It should be 1,500.
What does everybody else say?
And
The
that's,
council object because when they first came with all of the applications and that was a lot higher, when the council actually talked about it, they said, well, they have to be similar to what our neighbors are, you know?
and that still
I would
keeps
go
us
with
similar,
1,000.
but, you know, and again, I
We're
think
st- we're
because we don't see a ton of those is the main reason I think it should be a little bit higher.
Well,
But really,
that's-
again, make
that's-
people consider, especially non-resident or especially residential height variances and stuff, we really try to avoid. So I think that's a big, again, 1,500 for a.
Yeah, but considering we've never charged for it.
Right.
$1,000 is-
That's true.
It was less of an argument that
Right.
people could make if we kept it within what our neighboring towns.
Yeah.
Say 1,000,
Right,
the high end of what other people charge.
right.
So what do you think? 1,000 or 1,500?
Well, you know what? To that point, we can't get argument if we keep it at 1,000 because we could just simply say, "No, that's what everybody else charges." You know.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
So you know,
1,000 is-
so you know what you do? You try for 1,000, you see what happens, and next year we go and review it again. We see what we took in the applications, and we
See-
find out if we're right or wrong.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's based on the volume, right? You know, that's why those other towns have more.
Right.
So we go with off our range in the future if we see a lot more of those coming in.
If you're asking for a D variance, you're asking for a big gift. You know, you're asking for a lot.
Right.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
one.
That's why I
It's
thought
not a
it as well.
typical, 2-inch side yard, de minimis, that, it's a change of use that's not permitted in the zone.
Yeah, or it's
Variances do we
commercial.
do, Larry? Just-
We have three pockets most of the time anyway,
We did 3.
or it's a
Three.
height variance, which we really want
I think
to
we-
avoid.
Either did 2 or 3.
Hold on a second.
So 1,000 seems in line with other towns.
If you also
Go-
look
go-
at,
go-
Yeah,
So
if you
hold on a
look at
second.
the hybrid here, there is a
Right.
hybrid town here, which is Paramus. Knowing that Paramus is hot on commercial who's there. All they did, they looks like they just bundled it all up into one from 250 all the way to 550 to
Yeah,
5,500.
Yeah.
Right, their application fee goes up to 5,500.
Yeah, right.
They're
Yeah.
addressing a lot in that. I had a commercial one application in Paramus not that long ago, and yeah, they're hitting you with everything. They have a sign committee. You're spending.
Yeah.
It's very. And John can tell they're very detailed, oriented in terms of requirements just to get in front of the board. A lot of.
It takes months and months from what I've
So if you,
told.
so if you look at the report that Grace did, the 2025 annual zoning report, we actually did 3 this year and we turned them down. So we don't get that many.
Well, yeah,
So I'm thinking,
An application.
right, so I'm thinking, maybe the $1,000 is a good way to start.
Yeah.
And then,
I
like I
think so.
said, we look at it down the road, and if it needs to be adjusted, we adjust it next year.
I agree.
Is everybody okay with that?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And the price per variance, I said yes. So that's how, right,
I
okay,
think we all kind of just agreed to that.
So
Right.
D is 1,000 per variance.
yes.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready. You good?
I'm good.
Okay, so on the escrow deposit, residential / unspecified, I said 2,000. That's my opinion, $2,000.
Yeah, and I mean, we're already in line with most of them, so I wouldn't disagree with that, given the increase in costs.
Because
Is the escrow for engineering separate from this?
or is it all included?
I think it's included.
Because to me, it doesn't seem enough.
no,
Right.
it doesn't
It
either.
doesn't seem enough.
So
No.
I would,
Because if he had his own, because I know, did they tell me your mechanics, don't they pay something directly into an escrow specifically for engineering? I thought there was something with that I saw.
Not unless there's language to that effect, say like in a developer's agreement.
Right, okay.
Where it specifically
So-
says,
This is basically for your planner, right? Your engineer,
Yeah, this is not.
your attorney, and your notices.
but planner's always only involved with a D variance,
Right,
right?
so there's.
but these notices are paid by the applicant, not us.
No, the town,
We
notice.
put
Oh, the town notice.
position and not a lot.
Right, so like 17.
Wait, so wait a second. The planner, the engineer, the town notices, and who else? Oh, the attorney.
Legal,
Well,
engineer,
on a typical
typical one that doesn't.
residential, do we typically exceed the escrow and require them to up it?
Yes.
Oh,
And how much do we usually end up?
Yeah.
We usually end up around 3,500. So.
Of what they owe at the end of, that's why I'm saying like.
So does it make sense then to just increase that to 3 so we're covered? If
Yeah.
we're gonna spend it anyway, might as well collect it up front.
And
Yes.
they get it back, whatever they.
And it is refundable.
Yeah.
And not only that, but when whoever goes in front of, or talks to the council about it, they have to be told, just like what you said. That's how much money is, you have to show them.
And we're
How
not,
much
that way
has
we're
been
not
spent.
chasing them.
I mean, and this.
Right, and we're not doing it.
On
Right.
average, it's about 35.
And again, they're only responsible for the cost incurred. Everything else gets refunded. So it's really, that's what it is. It's a
Yeah,
deposit.
it's that.
It's not a specific fee. And like you're seeing, John reaching out to these different people. Sometimes I have to do things.
So
No free money.
Who are you billing, John?
you keep it closer
Pound's not paying.
without
that,
going
right?
over.
Pound's not really.
Because we don't want to have to refund money because that's a pain on the accounting side.
Yes.
But you want to get it close. So
Right.
if we're spending 3,500 most of the time, if we make it 2,750 or 3, it'll eliminate most of the refunds, but we're not chasing them for thousands of dollars. We're chasing them for 500 or 600.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
well,
I agree with that.
so for someone who took 2 years to get paid on an application, I always say it's never enough.
Yeah.
Right.
But the finance part of the town, it is a pain to do refunds too, because then it's got to go to the council, get approved there. So we want to come close, but not go over wherever we can.
So how about 3250?
Well, I was thinking rounded at 3. And $500, almost anybody can come up with $500.
Yeah,
You
I
do
would keep it at
private.
3,000.
What does the board want
I'll
to
go
do?
with
3,000?
Yeah, I think 3,000 is fine.
Is everybody okay with 3 or 32?
Yeah.
33,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to add that people really appreciate the transparency early on, knowing
I agree.
it's going to be
Yes.
3,000.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
instead of collecting 1,000 and then I got to ask for another,
So,
once
so
it's
hold on a
done-
second. So let me ask you this question. Do you feel, if we did collect 3,000 and down the road, you got to call them up and say, you know what, now you got to pay another 5 or
Right. You
750.
think we should
Would you
collect-
feel uncomfortable doing that? Or do you think we should collect
Because I
more,
do
and
it-
let them refund?
I do it all the time.
I'm trying to take some of that away from you.
Yeah.
So I understand what Kevin's saying about you have to go to the council, get
Yeah.
approval, send out the refunds, but I would rather have more
I would
than
too.
less.
Yeah.
Because
So,
again, what, if we have to collect more, the only way we can hold, the only thing I can think of that we have in our ammunition is if we need to give them, let's say, a CO, a permit, or whatever, that's the only thing that's going to say, pay us, and then we give you what you need.
But
But if
that's
they,
on every application.
right, but I'm just saying, if they have everything, what's our ammunition to get it?
Do what you're supposed to do to get your money back. Like maybe there's conditions that you haven't, it gives them some incentive.
yeah, but now
Right, so-
you're chasing.
Right, so what would the board rather do?
I would go to 35.
What's everybody consensus?
What about doing, some kind of, do some kind of formula where there's a low and a, high, like the per variance, 250 per variance. Is there a way?
Well, I think the work's still the same for the
Yeah.
most part.
It works the same because if you look at Ridgewood, their escrow is 4 times the application fee. And we're doing already per variance, so
Right.
they pretty much equates to that.
The only thing I can think of, Diane, is because what happens if Gary and the engineers involved and their bill rates are going up or whatever, and their bills are much higher than we anticipated when the application was taken in, it's gonna be short no matter
I
what.
see yeah.
And yet, to be very honest with you, if the engineer decides to go up in the new year or the year after or whatever,
1% breathe.
That's a
well,
good
that's,
call.
you're right there. You just said it, right?
So let's,
Even the simplest application could be something like Manhattan
But
Avenue. I get what
so
you're
do 3,500, then
35.
is it gonna go up?
We
Yeah,
haven't changed
probably.
it in a while and you're probably not going to change it for a while.
Yeah,
Right.
People.
it'll
And-
catch up eventually.
And I think Grace could agree with me on this. People are more giving at the beginning of a project
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
They
and
are.
at the end,
rather than at the
They
end.
don't have a choice.
Because at the end,
the money's gone.
the money's gone. A contractor promised them it would cost this much in the
And it
beginning.
went 10%
It's
over.
become this much.
Right.
And
He was
so-
supposed to be done this time and it's 2 months later and he's still not done.
and it's like pulling teeth, unfortunately, with
Yeah.
residents.
No, that, and you know what, I agree, I've especially going through it myself, so.
Do you know ahead of time any of these fees were changed? Do you happen to know? Does it-
Oh my, I did know at one point it was like,
At least 10 years ago.
oh my God, it was in the 90s. It was in the 90s.
It's
It was
never
like
been-
90s.
yeah, and it hasn't been-
I remember.
Yeah, right.
It was in the
No.
90s, I think,
Yeah.
when that 1,000 was
13.
established.
Yeah.
And there might be a part of you that feels guilty about charging this month to these residents, but I would counter that by saying you should be able to do your improvements within
I agree.
the confines of zoning.
It should not have to be.
Once you deviate from that, then you have to pay the price to do that.
Change.
And you're asking to change our
Don't come
ordinance.
here, right?
Right, change your
It does
plans.
save
Don't
our
come.
money, so I don't have to keep chasing them.
Right,
Right, yeah, I'm just
And the-
trying to avoid the extra work on the other end too, so it's a balancing act, but if everybody's rates are gonna likely go up this year, then
They do.
It's worth it
I
to
mean,
go up to
you know, they
35.
have a right to go up.
Yeah, yeah. And we, and,
Engineers and everything.
and now that we're on that topic, we right away, just looking at this one, you know, for the commercial part, I would just put it at 5,000 myself. You know?
Well, yeah,
easily.
that's the next one, right? So commercial use, I recommend 5,000.
Again, it's escrow. It's not a fee.
No, it's
just
all
a-
escrow money.
Exactly. It's
Escrow money,
commercial,
yes.
it's more involved, there's more work on the
I-
engineer.
What do,
Back and,
what have fees, and again, we don't have many, so there's not too much to compare it to, but do we know what the fees were for, say, the Montessori? That came out of escrow? Did we have to get extra from them?
Yes.
And how much extra? I mean, is 5,000 enough, or is 7,500 a better number for that?
Well, if you look at
Because
param-
commercials are usually going to be more expensive. There's a lot more involved.
More than 20K for Appleton Swing? Was it that?
So there's a ton. So
but if you look at the report, look at Paramus, they do 11,000 and up, and we're only asking for 5 to begin.
say
Right.
7,500 or even 10 is worth it for a commercial, because there's going to be,
Right, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So you're categorizing this as commercial
And you,
Right,
and you.
according to
Right.
this.
Oh, okay, I don't have this in front of me. So
Right.
for multifamily, this would be included. I believe the municipal land use law states that for these types of applications, before the application comes in, the clerk is supposed to ask each professional, based on the plans, how much of an
You're
initial
right.
that they require rather than a flat fee. So if I have a D variance in, say, 5 units, that doesn't cost as much as a D variance and 20 units. And depending on where it is, if it's near a signal, we have to do more traffic. If there's flooding issues, we have to do more engineering. So the municipal land use law for those types of uses, commercial and multifamily, or D in this particular case for Washington Township, they give us all, the planner, myself and Gary, an opportunity to opine how much we need for them to post. So at the end of the day, it could be 10,000, it could be 12,000.
that's what commercial and D variances we're talking about.
Right. So say, hey, bring up a bad subject, but
Yeah.
the season.
Well, no, I mean, it's a lot of, there's multiple meetings.
Right.
Definitely with a D variance.
Right.
Almost all the time, there's more than one meeting, and the bigger it is, the project.
Right.
the more
Can we
meetings.
do a minimum of 7,500 and a maximum of 20 based off of the engineers?
I wouldn't put a maximum because we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Nobody else
yeah,
has
right.
that.
So
Yeah.
the way the ordinance, I don't know. if
Or
it's
say an additional
Right.
fees as determined prior to by the engineers?
Look what
or by
Emerson does.
So you can't be deemed.
Emerson, we could copy Emerson's
Emerson does by estimate to 5K minimum.
minimum.
Or
I think that's the way that we should word it. It'll be 5K minimum and it'll be by estimate. of
7,500 minimum.
Yeah, but the problem,
Yeah, whatever.
hold on a second. John,
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying about you'll be looking at the plans to see what you think it might cost. But if the applicant, let's say, wants to get onto the January schedule, right? And they give the information to Grace in December, 10 days before the due date, right? 10 days?
You say, give the information.
Well, the
You
applicant,
mean
the
application.
application.
And they.
They're not
and
deemed
they-
complete until
they're
they
not going
post
to-
the escrow.
So that means they would have to hold up until it was reviewed by both you and Gary in order to
Great.
to get onto the,
Grace gets the application in. As soon as she gets the application in, she sends an email.
okay,
The planner Gary and I,
All
and
right.
say, I need your response in 2-3 days. How much do you need for this application? We tell her the amount. She tells the applicant, you have to post whatever that
X amount of
adds up
dollars.
to be in order to be deemed complete. You're not
Okay.
complete until you post it.
And that's
So how
when,
do we,
And that would be the Emerson.
how do we word it?
thing.
Start at a minimum and go to the
By estimate.
professional.
By estimate.
I estimate.
So minimum of 7,500 by estimate?
No,
No.
by estimate.
No, I would just,
Or just by
I
estimate?
would leave out the dollar amount and just put down by estimate. And then it would be reviewed by the various people to come back to Grace and say, we need X dollars. And that's what we need in order to complete the
Well, you could do-
application.
By estimate and have a minimum.
No, because I'd rather not do a minimum because if the estimates, no, because what happens if they give Grace a check for $5,000 and all of a sudden it gets reviewed and now you need 20,000, that means she has to go back to the
Well, that's-
applicant.
that has to be-
Check until they know.
If the engineers say it's gonna be 5,000, the minimum's still 7,500. If the engineer says it's gonna be 10,000, they gotta do 10,000.
Oh, you're saying if it's below what it is. Okay.
You're
Okay.
putting up a minimum amount regardless,
Right, yes.
whether I say.
And I don't see many commercial projects that are gonna be less than 7,500.
Okay.
That's a lot of, most of the commercial projects are a lot of.
So I like-
work.
All right, so I like the idea with the 7,500 minimum and then by estimate.
Yeah,
And again, it's escrow. They'll
Yeah,
get it
right.
back.
by estimate and then,
And we,
So is it okay? Does everybody agree like $7,500 minimum and then
Okay.
put hyphen by estimate?
I think it should say by estimate first,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Like Emerson.
the way I'm.
just like
All right, by
Emerson
estimate,
has,
okay, so by estimate dash 7,500
minimum.
minimum. Is
Yeah.
everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
You okay?
That's for
Gary?
commercial, multifamily and D.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
mean,
Yeah.
we have very little.
Yeah, commercial
now,
use.
so everything, yeah, I mean, we have nothing, right? Yeah.
Right,
So- so-
this town has always had.
So what is the practice for turnaround time? Is it, are you governed by 2 to 3 days once you get the email from Grace? Or what is your commitment back to us to make this happen?
Well, not commitment, what's the requirement?
Okay, what's the requirement then?
Requirement.
Is there a requirement? Is there a law? You know what I mean? Can you take a week? Can you take a month? Or you have to do it within 48 hours?
I think it's silent. From what I remember, all I know is that,
It's just in terms of when you get the application, like I
Right.
go to Fairlawn, I give an application, they get back to me a month later with how much the estimate.
No, not that. How
No.
much
Oh.
the professionals have time wise to get the information back.
Right.
That we can charge the proper amount.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, that's
They-
what he's talking
That's what I'm talking about. Like I applied to Fairlawn zoning board. They don't give me any, I had to wait a month before they told me how much the fees are and how much the escrow was. Because there's a busy board and they.
Right.
kind of-
And-
No, we're talking
If I
as an
may.
applicant.
As an applicant.
Okay.
As an applicant.
Okay, I didn't get.
That's where you.
I don't think it's
me too.
fair to me.
Okay.
I guess somebody have to tell them in 48 hours.
So you said the magic word, they're a busy board. So look at Paramus. They have a flat fee because they're a busy board. And you might be waiting a month for the engineer to get back to you on how
Yeah.
much, by the
Yeah.
time he looks at it. This is not a busy board when it comes to commercial
Right.
and
Right.
variance application.
It's a different town, different.
And Oakland, where I am, it's not busy with commercial, but we're very vigilant. We get back to the escrow clerk, and I've been doing this for 7 years, within a day or two.
Okay.
And everybody gets back, the planner, the attorney and I,
Right.
and it works.
I
So-
would say if we were getting 15 applications, I would say that's a little bit different, but we're
Right.
not.
Right.
So I would
Right.
think that the time getting back to us would be much better than, like, say, the Paramus.
Yeah.
So I like the
And the
idea.
whole purpose is to keep us from chasing them for money.
Right. And right, because it's a pain.
Yes, it is.
And I mean, granted, a commercial is going to have more incentive to pay that because they can't do anything with that property until they get their CO.
That's right.
But at the same time, it takes time to call someone and say, hey, you're out of escrow. We need another deposit.
With Apple Montessori, towards the end there, poor Grace was like emailing them for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I kept shaking my head. These people are not going to get their CO. And sure enough, at the 11th hour, the check showed up like about 2 weeks before. In August, it showed.
Because we had something to hold our gloves
No,
on.
because they couldn't open.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And they needed to open in September for the season.
September, we watched when they were opening.
And
I waited until some of the pre-deposits came in.
But that's the reason why I want to make sure we collect enough in advance, because we may have a problem with Manhattan, let's say.
Yeah, well, residential, they don't necessarily have as much of an
Incentive
incentive.
to get a
A business can't open until they get their CO. So they have more incentive there.
But you're not supposed to be able to live in your house if you.
Well, if you make an addition or a modification,
Yeah, they're already there. They're not-
you're still living there during the project.
I've seen COs rescinded for lack of escrow.
And they should be.
Well, I mean, it's in our resolution.
This,
Every resolution.
Not in
says
this,
you can-
no, I've seen it in Oakland.
If they don't, the resolution says if they're not following the conditions of it, there
Then
could be grounds for.
then the resolution
for,
becomes void?
Revoking the CO
Okay.
and permits that were granted.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
that's in the resolution.
So we okay with the commercial use, 7,500
very hard for that.
minimum?
Yeah.
By estimate,
By estimate, 7,500?
7,500 minimum.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Okay,
And just to clarify, the residential unspecified escrow is 3,500?
3,500.
Right, okay.
And then, Grace, explain what this enforcement's all about.
So the enforcement is what happens if they don't pay. Some towns will put a lien on the property. Some towns put the application on hold first and then dismiss it. We don't have, I mean, we'll put it on hold, but we don't have it in our code. Some towns actually say this in their code.
So Gary, what
This
can
is
we
what
do
they
as a board if they don't pay?
Well, we can't do anything.
No,
It's
okay,
up
what-
to the town?
Right, what,
So like
Can we
you said,
suggest-
some boards put on hold, some put liens.
I'm guessing all of these are possible.
I mean,
what does it mean by put on hold?
Yeah.
What is that?
Applications means the application's on.
Yeah. It just
Means they
kind of
don't-
Do anything.
languishes.
That's right. Do anything.
Right, yeah.
and that's usually a bigger, like the smaller ones, not so much. The bigger ones, though, that's, it's on Grace to be, vigilant, and do we have enough escrow there? Oh, we don't have enough escrow? They're not coming
Yeah,
on.
you're not
But
going.
then-
forward.
They're not coming up. We're gonna carry it to the next.
Right.
Okay, so
I
we,
think that's what hold.
okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna, so
But some towns have a formal
I-
process where
I
they'll
think
dismiss the put it on hold and then dismiss the application.
my suggestion for this,
Structured. things like that.
Kevin, go ahead.
my suggestion for this would be to recommend to the council that we come with some enforcement mechanism, but I would leave it up to the council to decide what that may be.
I don't know if they.
No,
They're gonna look to us.
No, my opinion is that as these applicants are coming to us and we find out from Grace that there's not enough money because it's been used, I believe that until the applicant gives us more monies, their application stays in limbo.
But by the time, if we're making these other changes,
Go ahead.
they will have paid the escrow deposit that we just specified based off of whatever.
Right,
They're going to have started the project before they run out of escrow and need to do anything at that point, and it's already out of our hands at that point. Then it's in the building department's hands. We're not
It's
gonna,
only really an issue when an application is denied here, because then there will be bills coming in and they've already been denied, so they don't have
Or
any
There's no.
Right.
motivation or desire
right,
Right.
to keep up with their escrow at that point. So that's really the situation when that's.
Or ones
Right.
that go multiple meetings.
and again,
They
it's
go to
really,
meetings.
And state law says when that happens, the municipality is responsible to pay the professionals.
right.
If they can't collect it.
right, and which then becomes a budgetary thing for the town and the council, which is why my leaning was towards saying, let the council decide how they want to enforce it, because in the end, it's gonna be their responsibility for the finances if the engineers don't get paid.
I have a question when it comes to this. Now, do they have to have the money in a specific time period to Grace if she says there's not enough money before they can come to this meeting?
So in Oakland, they've instituted within the past year, the clerk does an escrow review a week before the meeting.
I was gonna say, okay.
And it's an agenda item that specifically says escrow report. And when she puts it out, if there's a deficiency, it's flagged and the chairman says, you know, you need to contact this person and they need to be current within the next week before the meeting. Otherwise, they will not be heard.
And this is,
So that's the control that the board has.
Being current for every meeting.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's-
You have to be current. You have to be current for every meeting.
I review them like 2 weeks before the meeting or soon, you know, farther out, and I'll ask to have the check a week before the meeting because I want to be,
Make sure it's clear, right?
and all that.
But if the applicant doesn't send you the check, then they don't go on.
then they don't come before us.
You see, applicants bring the checks to the meeting. And see, that's not good either, because if they don't bring the check, then you're sitting at a meeting that, and
Or if that
the boards that I've ever seen here feel bad, and then they hear them anyway, which
Right, the problem with
Shouldn't
that
happen.
is it hasn't gone through the banking system in order to determine if that's
You're right.
going to get paid.
you're right, that's why I'm
That
looking
applicant
for.
should be put on hold until the next.
But I mean, the only
Do they have
time,
to have their money within a week before the meeting that they're gonna be earned?
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that
that's
fair?
what Grace does.
Yeah, I need the check in my hand a week out.
yeah, definitely.
Grace, how often,
So that way you can check with the professionals right closer to the meeting in terms of what bills do you anticipate? Or, you know, maybe John didn't submit a bill yet. Maybe, you know.
I go on after the meeting for resolution compliance. And that's probably the toughest part because, you know, the only controls we have at that point is basically the CO, you know, and it's, you know, we basically make a recommendation to the building department. You can't issue a CO until I get paid.
So, I mean, we're looking to have sufficient minimum escrows.
To avoid
In
this
addition to
situation.
that, it's post approval, whatever, and then talking with John as to what his typical, you know, to make sure that by the time we get to where we're going to vote on it, we're up to date, and also knowing what is going to be required post compliance, right? Post resolution.
So what is the recommendation?
So that you're not asking for more money down the road. So it's a minimum amount that you have, but it's also as it's ongoing.
It is.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
So-
perfect, but having higher minimums that will be less chasing, I think.
So maybe that might resolve that.
Well, it
particular problem.
should.
Yeah, with the
But-
3,500 escrow deposit, it's much less of it. You know, if that comes into being, it's the enforcement, I think, would be much less of an issue.
Because you think it's more than enough on an average basis.
We made the minimum where it should be adequate.
Okay.
Should be, in most cases.
Yeah,
it would-
and if we find that routinely it's not, then we'll
Then
have
you
to
revisit it
have the
again.
council address it,
Yeah.
revisit to increase it.
Right.
We'll leave it alone.
And I mean, if you're coming up, it's usually when there's multiple meetings, but if we're coming up, all right, we're going to vote on this, you're checking what's
Okay.
there. And then it's not just checking that there's something there, but
How-
anticipating, and that might be a question
So that's, yeah.
to Don, like, you know.
I have a question. We have an area in the back of our books, and it tells Grace, you know, what they have to actually send in, what their, the checklist. I think maybe if we get a chance, we should look at the checklist, because I think she needs to really update that. I mean, for your purposes, so you're not, because it says 10, you need more than 10.
Correct.
And there are certain
Correct.
things I looked at it. And I think that this board really needs to look at this checklist
Yeah.
and update it,
And then
because it has been,
we're talking about should probably be on there.
Yeah.
You will not be heard if
Right.
escrow is not.
yeah, some of these
And I
things in here
You know,
have to be updated. They're not updated, where it could be incorporated in here, and this would be helpful to Grace so that she's not having to, you know, they see it. If they have not checked it off, or she has not checked it off, guess what? It's over. You know, I mean, if it's not there, it's not there. And people have a better understanding that if they, for some reason, they're not bringing in. I mean, I see all these applications and they're not bringing in all this paperwork. And then I was looking at this, and there is some that, I think this is an old one that when I was still doing it. I mean,
It's been
you
around a
know,
while.
it has been around a while.
I can't imagine there's many applications where they exhaust the escrow before the application has even been approved.
Right.
So holding the application really doesn't do much in 99% of the cases. Maybe an application like 660 Pascack might, because that was a long, drawn-out application, but we're not going to see a lot of them.
No, you're not gonna see a lot.
Okay, so we'll leave it alone.
The higher escrow, yeah.
So I would just say,
Leave it
let the
alone.
council decide if they want to do anything or not.
Right.
That just say, hey, look, this is something that's out there. If you want to take action on it, feel free, but the board's not recommending that we do anything specific.
So what is
So
the,
we won't even put it on hold?
I would leave it alone. I just,
We have it on hold. That's
Right,
what-
right, on hold.
Okay, leave it the way it is.
leave it the way it is.
But again, it's not going to happen unless it's a huge application where,
Right.
But the board has the option to
Right.
put an application on
Right.
hold if there's, escrow is.
correct, and that's how it is now. So,
Right.
so no change unless the council decides they want to do something different.
So,
And here's what other
so
towns do.
Grace, what's the process to present this to the council? This has to be revised with a letter sent to the council? Play around with it?
Write this up in a schedule
Okay,
and I'll bring it to the January meeting.
fine.
So you want to,
Uh,
do we hit every
Yeah.
section?
We did. So
So maybe just recap it.
You vote on it.
you want me to go over it again?
Send it in.
Just recap what we.
Okay, so let me just go over the numbers so everybody is on the same page. Under the zoning board for the application fee for residential unspecified, we're gonna go $250 per new variance. On the non-residential / commercial use D, it's gonna be $1,000. And the price per variance is gonna be a yes.
Well, do we have to put that on top then?
What's that?
250 per, if you're gonna put yes for,
Well, you know
Right.
where it says the column says Washington Township and it says 100 to 200?
yeah,
So we're gonna put $200, 250 per new, and then the price per variance is gonna be yes.
okay.
Right.
And then under the escrow deposit for residential unspecified, it's now gonna be 3,500. And the commercial use is gonna be by estimate dash $7,500 minimum.
Right,
And then the enforcement is gonna be put on hold or left alone.
right.
Okay. That's good. Everybody's okay with that?
Good.
Good. Okay.
Now, let me ask the attorney. Had the board make up this checklist? Do we have the power? I mean, I did with the last attorney that I had. We sat down and we did the checklist. So they have this board has the authority, correct? I mean,
Or our checklist.
yeah, it's your checklist.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, because I really do think that maybe if we help update, I think that'll help Grace a lot.
Do you have the checklist that?
It's.
We have it in the back of the way, if
It's
you
in
have
the
your
back of my
binder,
book.
it's in there, but it is quite old.
Yeah, well, she can make copies of it and then we
Yeah,
can go over it.
send out copies.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Or
the
just even
application.
email them to us. Scan it.
We've spoken about
email
updating
it.
things in the past, but
Maybe we can go over that in January.
Yes.
yeah, that's a 2026.
New item.
And I think we can use the recommendation of the engineer and the attorney, and I think it'll help.
Okay. We're good? Everybody's good on that so far?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Old business. Resolution ZB 25-19 to approval of the application of Jessica Levesky Rexroth for an addition and alteration to 637 Valley Court, Block 3201, Lot 14. So again, I'll go back to Gary and John. Are all the numbers and are they all accurate?
I have a lot of questions,
Go ahead.
okay? The soil movement calculations and stormwater management calculations, were they submitted?
No, nothing yet.
Nothing, okay. All right,
Oh, wait, this is.
637 Valley
No,
Court.
they have not. I got one today, but it was
uh,
an old but goodie, by Jefferson.
it was also Mr. Gorenstein testified that he did not have a topographical survey at this point. Do we have a topographical survey at this point?
I have not received any new documents for this application. And
Okay,
I saw in Jeff Morris's notes, something to the effect that the board wanted revised drawings for this.
Correct.
right, well, that's what I'm saying.
That done?
We have a resolution and
No, I
we
have
don't
not
have new
seen.
stuff.
So we hold the
This
resolution.
is Matt Capizzi represented this applicant, right? Grace, you didn't receive anything.
I have not received anything.
Okay.
So let's look at any corrections on this, but then we'd be within our right to table this until the documents are
That's
received.
correct. Yeah.
But let's make sure there's no corrections in the meantime and get that out of the way. Unless you just want to wait until everything.
I checked the conditions of approval against Jeff Morris's notes, and the only comment I had was it said that we needed revised plans. So, and we haven't received them, but I checked all of these. I checked the numbers, and
I would just say
they agree with what Jeff's notes said from the meetings.
just a spelling error in B of the conditions. It says the board instead of the board.
Yeah,
So
I just see that now.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, page
the
7.
I mean, it says the applicant must submit a
numbers
grade.
I have in there seem accurate.
Yes.
From what,
Yeah, I checked the plan, and I checked his notes, and I checked yours, and they all.
Is there a grading and drainage plan? Did you see?
That has not been
So
submitted.
then I'll make the motion. We table this until all the requested
There's
documents.
so many things that are.
provided.
Okay.
All right, I also have a
So-
question before you even do that. There is hypothetically, there's 2 variances and then there were 2 pre-existing. So that's like four variances on this property. I'm just wondering, how many variances does a board actually give someone for a house?
So case.
I mean,
by
if,
case.
you bought your house and now they're just getting, I don't know how many variances back and forth. I mean, is there a maximum or is there a minimum or none of the above? And if it's none of the above, that's.
I think
you know.
it's our prerogative
Question.
to take that into consideration.
As a board, our applications are based on each person. When the people come to us, they're basing on the current variances, what they need to get the project going. If they have an existing variance, that's in the past. We're only looking at current.
Well, no, we see the existing.
Right, but we see it, but.
And then we've done where we've requested somebody to correct one variance. The guy whose wall went onto the neighboring property was another one.
Right, you try.
So you balance it out by saying, okay,
But you try to correct what was wrong.
previously wrong, that can be
Right,
corrected.
that
Some
can-
things can't be.
Right, but the main, what I think you're saying is that we're only looking at the current application for the current variances that they need today. If we can fix something of the prior, we can, but we can't hold up an application because of a prior.
No, okay, so then we could do
No,
5
but we would
variances.
base our approval of these new variances off of give and take and correcting if
Right,
there's something that can be
right,
corrected.
that's right.
And if it can't be corrected, then it's
That-
their
that's it.
professional's responsibility to say why it can't be corrected.
Yeah, because this one says here there's a non-conforming minimum rear yard setback of 26.3 feet where 30 feet is required.
Correct.
So that's.
Yeah, but if
pre-existing.
it's pre-existing,
It's
then
pre-existing and it's not.
the
gonna
house
be what
was
it
built,
is.
like the house on the corner of with the fence that they just fixed. You know, if that house back then
That's
was built
fixed?
5
Do
feet
you really
from,
call that fixed?
not the point though. That was just to describe which house I'm talking about.
I know
If that house had been built, like, so you go to Japan, New York, some of those houses that were built in colonial times are 2 feet from the front street.
But we
You're
don't.
not
live
gonna
there.
fix that. You can't make them lift
Right.
up their house and move their whole house in order to give them an extra patio on the back.
there prior to the ordinance change.
But if it's something that's correctable, like a fence or a retaining wall that could be fixed, those are the kind of things we ask for. Or more.
Or whatever, then yeah.
You know, it's like, if I wanna-
Right.
I was just bringing up the fact of how many variances that people come.
Yeah.
And
it's-
nowadays, it's not quite the same. They used to come from one variance and be afraid that the board wouldn't give it to them.
Right, but it's,
Now they come with 2, 3, 4 variances and go, you have to give it to me.
well,
I'm
we don't
sorry,
have to give
I've seen
anything
that.
to anybody.
Right, everything.
And that's why we
do.
take it on a case by case basis.
Right.
And it's really, I mean, look, there's a lot of houses that were built differently than they are now with regards to where they sit on the property and what's usable and what's not. And the real goal behind all of it was really just to prevent somebody from taking a house, filling their entire property with the house, and have no
Well,
yard.
there's quite a few houses in this town just like that.
Yes. And that's why most of this was really addressed in that respect, with setbacks and everything to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, that's.
But you can't control what was done 20, 50, 80 years ago. That is what it is.
No, but what I'm saying is if somebody's given the variance already, if they've had a variance and they've been given that variance, and now a new homeowner buys that house and doesn't bother, and nobody tells
I
anybody.
see what you're saying.
Now you have
Well, they
another
don't know.
one.
It's not a house built in 1930 or 40.
It was modification
that
that
was
we
before
granted
the
them
ordinance.
10 years ago.
If you're talking about application where 10 years ago they were granted a use variance or some type of variance, and now someone else, or maybe
Which
to
is-
say it's coming again, you can take that into consideration. I've seen other towns do that. They say, look,
Yeah, that's what I'm
this
interested
property has
in.
been granted all this before, and now you're coming at
The one house that was approved for the garages in the back, and now this house is a
That's
monster. On
Right.
that's,
Right.
So that's
I went
what-
there.
And that's gotta be
House
In
yesterday.
that house.
taken into
Like
account
that.
as you review the case. Right.
Yeah.
Which,
Bam. It's got finished. It's like, wow, I didn't catch it the first time when I passed it.
And you got to look at what is the reasonable square footage
This
when
time,
you're dealing with
it's like
variances
3
for
but it was that way
Impervious coverage.
40 years ago.
what's a reasonable square footage for a house. Those are all the
So-
things we got to take into account as we review these.
What are we doing with this resolution?
Well, my motion was to table it. I need a second still, but table it until they provide the proper documents.
So which, are you looking for everything
Everything that
condition
was,
on
all the
this?
documents that were required in the conditions, I'm not looking at it now, but the
The top.
soil movement permit, the topographical survey, and I think there was one other.
soil movement
So-
is building height, I think.
Stormwater management,
Stormwater management.
that is in the checklist, and no one seems to. I mean, every application I've seen so far here has not given us the stormwater management. Every application.
So I have a question. I have a question. In the past meetings, I've always had a problem or issue where approving resolutions where we don't always have dot the i's and cross the t's. And for the most part, I've been outweighed in votes. That's everybody's opinion. All of a sudden now we're changing it to, we need to have all the information, all the i's and t's dotted before we approve the resolution. So we're kind of changing our thinking process. But then I have a question is, are we going to continue that process going forward? Or are we going to do it or are we able to do it on a case by case basis? And if that's so, is that legal?
Well, what's practical? Like some,
Right.
I mean, some of these things, maybe it takes us several months to get it. And now we're holding up everything. We've approved it and we're holding up everything. Because that's why a lot of times boards don't want to hold up
Okay.
the applicant.
I-
So maybe it's a specific.
Stormwater management,
What's very.
Well, let me ask Gary this question. I was told in the past that approving a resolution just makes it go forward. Before they can get their permits, they still have to send all the information required by the resolution to whether it's the engineer, the attorney, the
They have to comply with the conditions.
right.
Regardless when it is,
Right.
it could be.
Whether it's 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, they still have to comply. The only thing we're doing is approving the resolution that says that it can go forward.
You're proving that this is what was approved at the.
Right. It doesn't mean that it's here today. It means that they need to submit this information in order to get the permits. Correct?
it's very difficult to.
But hold on a second. But am I correct in what I'm saying?
They can't get permanent.
Without- They need
Unless the town.
they need the
Unless they
resolution.
apply at their own risk.
Right. They need the resolution.
Wow.
But they need the resolution to be approved by the board in order to go forward, in order for them to get all the information that's required to submit.
You don't need approval by the board for them to
Well, hold on a
meet the
second.
condition.
So hold on a second. So the resolution that, let's say the board approves tonight is to go what? To go forward. Is it not?
Well, it starts the time frame for appeals when you publish it, it starts
Right.
that going and.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If we don't approve it,
And I don't know if
this thing
approving
sits
one,
here.
They're not going to grant anything without a resolution.
Right. That's what I'm
Because they don't
saying.
know what was approved.
Right.
This thing, if it wasn't approved by the board because it's missing all these parts, the problem is this will just sit here until
Yeah, I don't,
somebody knows what to do.
So if this were not approved by the board, I would call the applicant tomorrow
Mhm.
and I'd review this with them and I'd say, you have to do this and this and this and this and this.
Or the conditions.
It kind
And
of
I
keeps
think
it,
that.
At the meeting, they should have been told they had to have everything
They
for the next.
they weren't
meeting.
told.
They have to do it
They weren't
anyway
told.
to get
But
their building
it-
permits
it's a
and.
matter of where the control goes.
I
Yeah,
think-
that's
I
the
think-
difficult part.
And that's what I said in the past, and that's what it was against. So I've been told that a resolution for the approval is not to say, it's to keep the process going. It's for the applicant to say, if you got your resolution, make sure you follow all the conditions, all the requirements, make sure you submit it. And then once everything's been approved by the engineer, then they can go and get their permits.
See, I look at it differently in the conditions of requiring documents that we requested and required. If they don't provide them, that's them not complying with our requests.
Well, then this is the first of the turnaround.
I'll try to help you guys out.
yeah.
So the board has every right to withhold the resolution
Yes.
until they get
Okay.
what they want.
Or withhold voting on it.
Or withhold,
Even-
right,
Which is
voting on it.
comes up.
In Westwood, and I use them as an example because I'm also the zoning board engineer there. And if they feel that there are numerous changes required, as in this case, they will hold up the resolution. If it's a slight tweak,
Right.
Yeah.
they will let it go. So it's on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
If the board feels that there are way too many things that needs to get done, they want to have that control. They don't, and rightfully so, because if you have too many things that have to happen, and I don't take any offense to this, they don't want to leave it just up to the engineer. They want.
It's easy for it to get missed.
Right. It's easy for it to get missed and it's
Right.
easy to,
And then we're doing a disservice if it comes along later and it got missed and it was something that was needed or something that didn't agree.
Yeah.
Now it's either going to get kicked back again or it's going to be, well, it's too late now.
But if people realize that we're not approving it, until everything is done and we make it very stern and say, that's it, you're just, they'll have to come back another month.
Well,
to combat that,
Yeah.
you can be extremely strict during your completeness review,
Yes.
saying that you must have all these things. And most boards that I represent are not stringent on completeness reviews because they want the process to move along.
and a lot of these things, engineer calculate, that's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
So
And there's
to remake it, I mean, maybe if it's a bigger application where you really need to see this, if it's a small, putting in a seepage pit or whatever.
And so
the applicant is not going to spend the money on that
Right.
until they have a vote.
and until the board specifically tells them, we want to see stormwater management.
But
So that's what I'm saying.
dated survey showing the current
But-
conditions, I'm not going to vote.
But
So-
we've had a vote already and approved this.
Correct.
So now it's just approving the resolution, but it's already approved, provided you give us X, Y, Z. So the votes
Correct.
happened. We said, we need the calculations, we need this, we need it reviewed. So this document should be provided to us because everything's going forward. We've approved it.
Right, but they need the resolution in order to go
The
forward.
meeting saying, well, I want the stormwater calculations a month before
Right.
we're approving it, because that wouldn't make sense. Why are you going to pay for something you don't know is going to get approved?
So, I mean, you could hold it back and depending on a case by case basis and maybe give some.
And Grace
And I think-
along tomorrow.
I think the fact that there's multiple documents not provided that were requested shows different than if somebody didn't have stormwater calculation, but they gave us 6 other things that we had asked for.
Right.
It's a difference of them working with us or not working
Right.
with us,
I mean,
caring what we say, put in place versus not caring.
And hey, maybe I need to save another month or two to pay for those things to eventually get approved. if they're generally
Yeah.
following along what's required, how, otherwise you're gonna have all these resolutions. I mean, that's the idea of
So,
approving
Michael,
stuff.
I hope I answered your question. You have every right to hold it as
Yeah.
another level of enforcement, if
Right.
you will.
But I think since we approved the application in the first round, I think holding up the resolution is not fair. That's my opinion.
It's not always.
It's not, it's my opinion. It's my opinion.
No, but the reason.
It's not fair.
Is it keeps the control within us to make sure that it gets done
Yes,
as was
but-
required versus allowing somebody else to maybe not see it or forget
I
it
look-
or overlook it.
I look at it this way, the board found, the board was sympathetic to the applicant, however, they found the plans deficient. That's the way I look at it. You know,
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion,
Right. So it was no harm, no foul.
but we approve these applications with conditions.
Correct.
So if those conditions are met, then we're okay with moving forward the resolution. I don't see how we're gonna be, negotiating.
Right, but
Yes.
but I understand what you're saying, but not to approve the see, normally I would say,
we're not saying not to approve
Right,
it,
I'm
we're
just
saying to
saying-
hold it.
that's the same thing. Same thing.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. You're holding up.
I'm
The
telling you what Westwood does.
Right,
and
I know.
It works very well, so
I've always been, they're holding it.
they'll hold it.
They do it frequently.
Frequently, yes, if they feel that the plans were deficient. And
So they
they
would rather,
want homeowners to move along, but they want them to
Right.
follow the
If
rules.
they
So
keep moving along, it's gonna give them the incentive to then produce what was being asked. And we had a case, the property across the street from me, we had said, okay, this and this needs to be done, and it took a long time. I still don't know if you've got
We
everything.
just,
No, we
we
haven't.
just got stuff today. How long has that been?
Yeah, so this gives incentive, hey, you can't do anything until we approve this resolution and until you give us, and again, if it's one thing that was overlooked and, okay, meet with the engineer and say that, the soil movement, or not soil movement, but to review the stormwater management plans is different than having 3 or
Everybody
4
lies.
different
Everybody
documents.
lies to me. I wish I had a dime for it.
They do.
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, we only have to do this. No, you gotta do these 5 other things,
I honestly think it streamlines the process for the applicant.
by holding it up.
Hold it. Yes, by holding it up because they'll get it done, because they want
I
them.
mean, you're holding it in good faith that they are going to get it.
See, in the past, I agree, because I've always said, dot i's and cross your t's before we approve these resolutions. I've been told the resolution is just to make sure that the words that we have, the numbers we have is accurate so it can continue. That's what I was told from day one when I first started here on the board.
Yeah,
Okay?
well, you're not changing, you're not voting to change anything in it.
It's not changing, you're not.
No, to make sure that that everything on these resolutions is correct.
That's what
And we're approving
approving
based, right, and we're approving it based on what this says. Then it goes forward, then the people, whatever they need to submit is submitted to the, let's say, to the engineer before any permits are issued, so he dots the i's and cross the t's until the permits have been issued. Then it's on the engineer to make sure that it's done right. That's all. That was what I was told back from day one. Then as I go further into the years, I'm saying, well, there's a lot of people that owe us this, that, this. How do we know that we're getting this, that, this if we're approving this? And I'm being told, well, that's
The building department.
it's the building department or it's the engineers department to make sure they have the dot the i's and cross the t's. We're only proving the resolution so we can just keep on going forward. Now we're saying tonight, which is a little bit different, is that maybe we want to hold these resolutions and make sure that we get dot the i's and cross the t's before we can go.
I don't know how long you want to hold it
That's-
either,
and that's-
because
Right.
an applicant decided, I'm not going to do this project anymore. Like they can change their mind and not do it, but they should still get a resolution. I would think, there may be a time frame or what's practical with that, because the applicant said, I'm not going
The
to.
applicants know that they have to do it. And that we could hold
They know
it.
they have to do it to get permits. and to
Right.
do what they want to do, but they may decide not to do it at all.
People who do that also.
But they should still get a resolution in my mind. You should get a
Yeah.
resolution, what was approved. And if they don't act in the time frame, that's why you have
The
one
extension.
year. And if
That's
they don't
why
do it,
you come back in a
they
year
come back for an
extension.
extension.
Right.
Or does your resolution say that they have? to
1 year.
provide- No, that they
Oh.
have to have plans in hand before, does it specifically say that in your?
It's it doesn't say to memorialize the it's just a condition of a
Right.
resolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you that also. At one
Well, the
point,
condition is
this
something-
board signed
I
off
say that.
on all the plans. The actual chairman signed off on the plans that were approved, so that when they took those plans and went down to the building department, those were the approved plans that were done here, because we've had applicants who did not take approved plans and went down to the building department, and there were a few houses that were done like that. And there was big problems with that. And that's why the chairman would always sign off on the actual plans that were approved by the engineer and everyone else.
So the process has changed.
Okay.
I mean, you should all know that.
Has to.
The process has changed. So things that, it's just changed. So
But
that's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you're gonna say.
well, I want the engineer. Shouldn't that be like a part of the zoning, where the zoning chairman actually signs off on a?
It's up to the board, and quite
Yeah.
frankly, how paranoid the board is about this.
Well, I think they should.
See, I say, I agree what you're saying, Mary, but I think as long as the engineer has looked at it, dot the i's, cross the t's, and approves it, I'm okay with that.
And frankly, it's a two-way street. The building department has to respect.
Right.
The engineer and.
Okay, that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, well, I will say this, with Grace being down there now, I think we're back on track, I would
I
say.
hope it's a little better. Not a lot better. May not be a lot better, but I hope it's a little better.
All right, so what are we doing with this resolution?
Well, I'm hearing two different theories.
I think we hold it. I think she calls them up tomorrow and says everything has to be in.
Well, the other thing to think about is the time for decision.
Right. Because that's
Well,
part
that's what I'm
of,
saying. Like,
What
it's
does that
not a
affect
great
the time of
practice to
decision?
keep holding resolutions every meeting. I don't think that's really practical. But, you may have for a meeting, hey, get us some of these things, or what's most important to the board. If there's something,
But suppose the applicant says, I can't do it, it's the holidays. You'll have to wait until January.
that's why a lot of times you approve these things and they either do it or they don't do it. And
Right.
it's making more and more complicated for the board when it's really, is this what the board approved? Yes.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Even though they do this practice in Westwood, it just becomes a
nightmare.
nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Now we have three resolutions
Of
from last
tracking things,
Yeah.
and they have things, they have 15 items on their agenda, easily.
Right.
And where they are in the various stages, it becomes extremely complex. So, so I hope I didn't give the impression that I was for something like that. I just wanted to say that your neighboring town does practice it, but it does become an administrative.
Yeah, I've never had it happen to me where on the applicant side where resolution was. I had it one time where they were actually talking about changing some of the conditions because the neighbor who was at the prior meeting came and said, that's not what I thought was approved. And, the board attorney's like, well, if this is not what we agreed upon, then you need to tell me what we did agree upon. Because otherwise, if we don't, this applicant's going to sue the board and we're going to be paying their legal fees. They're going to win. It's a different.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So the idea is to keep it moving, but there might be once in a while an egregious, an application. But again, a lot of that is prior to approval. You could ask for certain things but I think you have to be practical, especially on a small residential application.
Yeah.
Are we going to make this applicant spend a lot of money on all these calculations if we're not, if it doesn't get approved?
Right.
And they're not going to spend the money until they get approved. I mean, I have one, they approved it, but the calculation, same thing. In fair lawn, same thing,
Okay.
But this,
Define.
and just to make heads and tails of it a little bit, though. This application is approved.
Yes.
Right. but
As
they-
far as them spending money on these calculations, that was a condition of the approval. So it is,
Right, but we're holding it up.
we're holding up the resolution because they didn't meet.
They
the
can't do
conditions of the
anything.
approval.
They can't do any, or they can't do anything or apply for any permits. I mean,
They shouldn't be able to apply for permits without providing these documents.
well, no, they can
That's a
apply,
condition of the
but
approval.
we're now getting into where, to me, it's like a
Let
slippery
me
slope.
tell you some things, let me tell you some things that I do that you might not be aware of. So to keep residents moving, I sometimes don't require the stormwater calculations. So to get a building foundation started, because they have to get a backhoe out there to do the percolation test. They won't get a backhoe until they're digging the foundation. So my letters get very detailed and say, okay, you have the absolute minimum to the house is in the right location, where you're putting the addition is in the right location. We can work about stormwater later, but that'll be a condition of the CO. So that extends things out for
Okay,
them to help it
that
more
gives a
than-
different perspective.
So that gives it more of an
Conditions of getting CO, that's what the resolution says.
Right.
Right.
So
We may not get a CO or may be revoked. you know.
right. So to do all these things ahead of it kind of handcuffs them a little bit. But I can understand your point that you get frustrated because things are falling between the cracks. But
But the problem is,
What
we don't see it until something
Again,
is visible.
yes, and
So that's what I'm saying.
it's my responsibility clearly, and I take that responsibility. It's just that it's got to be a two-way street.
Right.
The building department and
flexible time.
right, and so I'm able to give this flexible timeline.
And
to-
if they don't do these things or commence, say they haven't commenced construction or anything, in a year, if it comes up again, we could revisit it and say, all right, for you to get this extension, and we have delayed giving extensions for them to, clean up the property,
Right.
whatever it may be, we have done that. So you do have
So-
some mechanisms down the road.
So on Jefferson, we've approved that, 2 years ago or a year ago?
Well, then there was a new owner.
And I'm still waiting for those new plans with the house
Right.
tender out. I haven't gotten them yet.
Right, and that's
And he hasn't gotten a building permit yet.
what's been leaning
So-
towards.
And the board in that case could have
My
requested
feeling
those
is that.
plans for that resolution, but they didn't. And that was a major change.
Right,
So,
And so-
and that's where that's leading me now to make the thought process I've been going through with maybe holding this one because of the same reason. Because now that's somebody that didn't get us and still hasn't gotten.
So
We had requested.
in essence, if it comes running out of time and he has to come back for the extension again, right? Then we can be a little bit forceful and say, look, until we get this, and this, we're not going to extend the project. That's it. That's where we can get back if it's not being done properly. But to hold up a resolution, I don't think it's fair. Because we approved the application when the applicant was here.
Given what he said about the calculations and stuff, fine, but revised plans, it's almost an insult, and it's not fair that we didn't get that.
I get it, but if the revised plans do come in and John says this is not the way it's supposed to be, then the application's gonna stop. And then they have to come back to the board and start all over again.
It just shows that they're
I
working with us.
understand what you're saying, Kev. I understand what
I
you're
see
saying.
both sides
But-
and certain
Mike,
things,
let me
and that's
ask
why
you,
case by
you
case.
changed your mind now to do this, so if it's a new application and they don't have all their paperwork, then you won't agree to the vote for that application if they don't have all the paperwork?
I'm saying there's a two-step process. A new application comes in, they present their
Okay.
ideas of what they want to do. I vote either yes or no if I like it or don't like it. That's it. Second is there's a new resolution next month. Let's say it's been approved by the majority of the board. I'm going to look at it, make sure it has everything what was required, and I'm going to probably most likely say yes. Even though I voted no on the original plans,
I'm still gonna say, okay, this is the address, this is the square footage, blah, blah, blah. They need to send us all this information. Yes, the
You're
document,
voting on the resolution that it was accurate to what we voted on at the end of the meeting.
that's all I'm doing. Then after that, if I understand this correct, it goes now to, let's say, the engineer, which happens to be you, and then they send all the information to the engineer at that time, and they review
That's
it.
called resolution compliance.
Right.
Yeah.
And they make sure that everything's dot the i's, cross the t's before anything is issued with permits and everything. If it's not done, then the board engineer comes back to us and says, this is on hold because it can't be processed. It's done. And if they run out of time, they're gonna have to come back to the board and say, we ran out of time because of what? And they're gonna have to explain to us, and then the board's got to make another decision whether we extend it or don't extend it. And that's how it should work.
Now that you put it that way, it makes sense, because at the end of the day, it really falls on the eyes of the engineer to make sure that the resolution meets the conditions that we approved in the first place. That if it doesn't meet that, then at that point, we could be stringent enough to say, well, we gave you conditions, we gave you enough time.
And that's how
And I keep giving the same important caveat, which is I need the cooperation of the building department.
correct.
Right.
Because people will circumvent me and go directly to the building department and act totally dumb that they have no conditions and they can get a building permit.
And that's usually why you have Mrs. Kalish now.
And that's why she's in there to make sure
He's keeping
that.
her eyes open, wide open.
You're the sheriff.
You're the sheriff.
That certainly does 6 shooters, 2 of them.
That's how I feel.
No, and I'm with you. I think that's right, because now since we have the second layer there of the engineer making sure everything is right, at that point we could start flexing our muscles and saying, hey, listen, we gave you a pass. You didn't meet that pass. Now you have to do what you have to do.
So then I'll withdraw my motion on that.
The other
And
thing, yeah, go ahead.
make the motion to approve it with the few minor corrections that we stated, the spelling error.
The other thing to just think about is, as a board, we don't want to keep the time open for appeals
Right.
too long. And it doesn't start until a resolution, one, memorialized and then published. That's when the appeal period starts, when it's published. So not always, I don't know, in the best interest to keep that window open.
Okay.
So I withdrew my motion and made the new motion to approve the resolution as amended, as corrected, I should say.
Okay. So I have one motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. LaGrada,
Yes.
Mr. Zitko.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Osmond.
Yes.
So that was ZB 2519.
That was ZB 2519.
One more.
We got one more. Resolution
Should be
ZB.
easy.
See, I hope so. ZB 25-20. Christopher Bendick and Kimberly Bendick. For an addition and alteration to 754 Koch Peak Avenue, block 4103, lot 24. So the only thing I would like everybody to look at is to make sure that all the various numbers
And
and conditions are correct.
I did, and I compared them against Jeff's notes, and I have no comment.
Yeah, I had notes, I had the minutes.
I have it was subject to providing the height calculation and update revised plan with all the changes for the engineer to review soil moving and stormwater calculation. And it's showing a revised impervious coverage of 35%. I mean, there were quite a few things that,
Right, that was on page 7, correct?
I don't know, it's
The
number 14,
conditions, yeah.
Mr. D'Agostino.
Right, the board grants variance of permit to 1-car garage parking space with a minimum of 2. The applicant will reduce the impervious coverage to 35% or less. The applicant must use the required formulas to show the height calculation on the architectural plans. So that's on page 7, A through
These are all the conditions.
5, right.
And I'm sorry, complete your question.
Well, the question, I guess what you're saying is
What I'm
that,
saying is there were a lot of things that, again, they didn't
right,
seem to do. And
Right.
without you, I'm sorry, I have to say this, without you, I don't feel that.
But I will say this, the applicant has been in conversation with myself and Grace,
okay,
asking what to do next. And I very succinctly told them, wait till the resolution is passed.
Okay,
Because it's not over until it's over, you know, as Yogi Berra would say. So don't do
At least
anything.
they've been communicating with you, which makes.
He's right. And so I said to them, let the resolution get passed, and then I'll work with you for compliance on these things.
Okay. It's right. Okay.
And Mr. Bendick is constantly confused.
Okay.
So,
But that instantly
Yeah, he
makes
was
people
very-
more confident that they're gonna follow it because they are talking with you and they're just not flat out
all the time.
nothing.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve DB
You
2520.
can't make the motion. So I'll make the motion.
I'd like to approve
The
DB.
resolution.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna make a motion.
Anybody want, you're making a motion?
Yes.
Second,
Second,
roll call, please.
Right, who's, Mr. Rivera, you seconded it? Who seconded?
Yes,
Mr. Rivera.
Mr. Rivera.
Mr. Legrata,
Yes.
Mr. Russo.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
yes.
Mrs. Osmond.
No. Did not like the application
Okay.
under no circumstances.
Okay. Next one. Resolution ZB 25-21. There was an email sent from Grace to the zoning board members in reference to adjustment to suggested opposition to New Jersey 4736. There's a Senate Bill S 4736 and Assembly Bill A 4471. Proposed sweeping changes to the municipal land use law. And whereas the bills require municipalities to permit 4 residential units on every lot statewide. Did everybody get a chance to read this?
Wow.
Yes.
When I read, I'll tell you,
Boards.
I'm sorry, what?
I bother having boards.
I read this and I thought it was due to, that they want to eliminate certain projects where schools or churches can do whatever they want to do above and beyond the height.
Certain entities.
Lots
Right.
of things.
Right.
Need a kind of.
To
They want
bypass.
to take over
To
zoning.
bypass the boards.
Basically, that's it. Zoning.
My opinion is,
There's
well, they're asking for us to give their blessing,
give permission to do anything they want.
and I'm saying no.
No.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Anybody can say no.
I said no.
Now, Grace, let me ask you this. Is this being sent to like the clerks? I mean, actually,
This would
Diane.
go to the clerk and the council.
Yes,
They
right. So
would-
it is. It's
Everybody.
everybody.
Right, it's them,
Yeah,
right.
they would pass
But they're
it.
asking our opinion to say whether or not we agree with this or not agree with
No,
this.
they're asking us to actually approve this, just like
And
they,
I'm saying, I don't like it.
No.
That's my opinion.
nobody likes it.
I think that's unanimous.
Okay.
At
Fine.
least here.
So if we don't like it, we don't sign?
If you don't like it, you sign, because
You
you're
sign it
you're
and send
telling.
to them and tell them.
You sign it and we
Right.
send it to the council and tell
Right.
them to
Send it.
Right.
pass that on.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she will,
That,
then she
all
will
right.
take the resolution and pass it on.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't then do what they want, but you're
Yeah.
at least telling them that you want what you want to see them do.
Okay. So in the package that you received, this go over a couple of things. The annual reorganization meeting will be held on January 13, 2026. Also, as a reminder,
Are you moving on from this? Because this has to be. this
oh,
is
it has to be voted? I'm sorry. Let's go back. I
So
apologize.
it's-
We gotta
I
vote on this.
apologize. Okay. So motion to approve resolution ZB 2521. Motion?
Second,
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Legrata,
What's the proper answer?
I don't want to.
Yes, I'm opposing.
I'm opposing.
Yes,
So
I'm
how-
opposing.
no,
What, you're opposing? what?
no,
I don't,
This,
if you say
you don't want to send it?
you want to
saying-
send this to council, yes or no?
right, you're
No.
saying yes.
You don't want to send this.
no.
Okay.
Okay,
But we do.
you don't want to, you don't
Well,
want to.
let me ask you a question. If am I reading this wrong? Is this saying that, I read this twice. Is it saying that we we like this or we don't like
We
it?
said you
don't like
don't
it.
like.
Oh, then I-
You want the county.
Okay, I'm
pass that.
sorry. Then I read it wrong. Then I'm saying yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yes.
we're telling them to oppose it.
I'm
Yeah.
opposing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your yes is to them oppose.
Got it.
Yes.
Then I'm opposed. Yes.
You sure now?
Yes.
Then your final answer.
That's my final answer.
You like that?
I want to call a phone a friend.
Come on, it's gonna be Christmas before we know.
Mr. Zicko.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mrs. Demarlo.
Yes. Yes, I oppose.
Mrs. Osmond.
Yes.
Okay.
This I look for.
Hey, I'm sorry. I read it twice.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is this the title? Was
I
that
should have asked you.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least we call
Yeah.
it housekeeping.
Thanks a lot.
You're expressing your opposition for filling
After
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I read. That's how I was doing. Okay. Okay.
That's ridiculous when I read it.
As I was saying before, the annual reorganization meeting will be held on January 13, 2026. Mark your calendar. Also, if anybody knows anybody who wants to be a board member, make sure you send in your resume by December 29th. If you're looking to become an alternate to a permanent, make sure you send your resume in before that day, because that is the cutoff date.
Who is up? Who is from the current board? So the one
Let Grace handle that one.
was officially removed.
So one, he
Yeah.
was removed, and Tana is expiring. And I believe, Mr. Rivera, you're expiring, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Les is a member, right?
She, she expires the end of this year.
Right. And then Jeff is,
Mr. Roberto is gone.
right, but he was a member.
He was a regular member,
And when was his term up?
at the end of this year.
So
End of this
it
month.
won't change anything.
Right.
Right,
Okay. And then,
and Mr. Rivera's term ends.
Okay.
and he's an alternate?
He's currently an alternate, yeah.
Okay. So there's two members and one alternate. Okay. Okay, as a reminder. Okay. Any board has any questions, concerns? We went over a lot tonight, so,
Which
We
was.
got a lot of housekeeping done.
yeah.
I found it was no
Oh,
application.
is there any applications, Grace, that you,
I think I just got one in for maybe February, won't be for January, but
none for January, I didn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions, concerns? Okay, so one last thing, I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy, safe holiday. Be
Yeah.
careful, there's a lot of nuts out driving already. I almost got hit twice tonight coming home. But enjoy your holidays.
So
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, folks.
Holidays,
Happy New
happy to
Year.
help.
Merry Christmas.